I can put my.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining the webinar today. Let's give everybody another 30 seconds to a minute to hop on, and then we will get started. In the meantime, if you guys want to drop where you're located or where you're watching from in the chat, we just kind of love to see tuning in. Nobody wants to drop in the chat.
Well, I'm not sure. I can only see the host and the panelists chat. I don't know if you need to update it. That happens to me sometimes. You have to. It's funny. Zoom now makes you grant everyone access. So
yeah. Okay, there we go. Now you should be able to drop in the chat.
Now it's a party.
Woohoo. All right, we'll give it another couple seconds and then we'll get started here.
Okay, I started with my location.
Indianapolis. Hello from Hamburg, Indianapolis. I'm usually in Atlanta, but I'm out in Irvine, California for today.
Nice. I'm over here in Austin. I'll drop in there. Austin, Texas. Woo woo.
Got Sydney, Australia, Romania.
Wow. I love seeing everyone from all over. All right. Thanks everyone for dropping your location. We're going to go ahead and get started here. I'll just introduce myself first. My name is Katie Dieter. I'm the event marketing manager here at 8Fig. Thank you so much for being here. We are going to, dive into a fun webinar about the AI advantage and how you can dominate your sales in 2023. On today's panel, we have Jamie Davidson from AMZ Insiders and Avishai Sam Baton from 8Fig. Joey Roberts was going to be on this webinar with us. She can no longer join us, unfortunately. So Jamie, definitely tell her she will be missed. And now a little more about our panelists. So Jamie is the co-founder of AMZ Insiders, where he coaches Amazon sellers on building, scaling, and exiting their own Amazon FBA brands. He's helped coach hundreds of students on how to sell on Amazon, and his passion is to see others be successful and help others be successful. Next, we're joined by our very own Avishai. Avishai is the VP of Marketing Growth here at 8Fig. He is a successful angel investor and entrepreneur. And if you don't follow him on Twitter, he loves tweeting about entrepreneurship. So definitely go give that a sneak peek. In today's webinar, we'll be discussing how AI can give you a leg up on your Amazon sales. We're really excited to dive in, but first I just want to do like a couple housekeeping items. If you do have any questions during the webinar, please drop them in the Q&A box. I'll do my best to kind of monitor those and answer them as we go, but we will save time at the end for some questions. So with that, I will kick it over to you guys to get started.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you, Katie. I'm excited to share some information here, and Avishai, I know we'll jump in throughout too. So, a couple things around AI to start off with is just, AI can mean so much. It can almost be overwhelming. And there's literally, hundreds of thousands of tools probably already. So, I think what I like about it is just that there is the practicality of actually finding specific things that you can take action in your business. It's not important that you figure out every single tool to use, because what happens then is you end up doing nothing, as opposed to just picking a handful of tools, being plugged in to understanding what else is coming out or what else might be interesting. And most importantly, just implement and execute with some things. So a little bit about myself, and basically we're going to go through some tools, but to kick it off a little about myself, again, Jamie Davidson, as Katie introduced, co-founder of AMZ Insiders. Some of you guys may know me, may not. My fellow business partner is Joey Roberts. She runs the Fearless Sellers podcast, and she built $1 million business with us in 12 months. Most people know myself for breaking 9 figures in the Amazon space. The first year we did that was in 2018. But every year we keep building and growing, figuring out new things. I used to, in my Facebook group, every month we post our 2 big brands. And basically, and this is in the US, we sell in accounts across the globe and on other platforms. But we're always proud of, besides, doing $3 million, $2 million in our 2 big brands per month, just the growth that we've had year over year, that we're always trying to outdo our previous year at it. All that being said, it's not really that important to today. What's more important is like, hey, in 2023, what can you do? How can you plug in and apply some stuff when it comes to AI? So we'll create a little foundation for you guys, and then we'll dive in and we'll do some, by all means, any Q&A you have. I know Abishai will jump in as well too. And yeah, let's get some shared learning and hopefully some key takeaways. Again, we're not going to go super long here today, so make sure you guys minimize distractions, close out any other things you're going through, or your phone, put it on airplane mode, and I assure you you'll get some good insights here before we're done. A couple things. Let's go. This is now it's like pretty basic because ChatGPT is the first platform. I think it went from like 0 to like 100 million users, which is insane. Like in a matter of like less than 2 months or something. It was absolutely insane. There's never been a tool or a site that has grown. Usually it's like you get several thousand users or 1 million users, crazy, but they actually went beyond 100 million. So I'm pretty sure, I'm going to guess most of you guys have used. So put in the chat a 1 if you've used ChatGPT, and maybe a 2 if you have not. Yeah, says Joey's okay. Yeah, 1. Exactly. Everyone 1. Oh, we got a couple 2s. Okay, great. So it's a mix. So this is why we're not going to spend a lot of time in terms of what is ChatGPT, but I just want to start off there. Hakan says almost every day. That is great. That's almost like the right answer. And I'll talk a little bit about my own thoughts around it, because ChatGPT and really AI in terms of like entrepreneurs implementing it is so new, right? So there's no true like guru, end all be all expert, because there's all these tools coming out from different angles every day. It's more about who's involved in the space, who are thought leaders in here. And that's the reason why 8Fig and ourselves are partnered here to help you guys share not everything, but give you guys some of the stuff we've been working on. I've been doing an AI mastermind every week for about the past 2 months with that I've been leading and hosting with several 7-figure sellers that have been part of it, and a lot of other thought leaders in the space. And so I'm going to share with you some of the stuff that we've been working on in the space. And again, hopefully this will be helpful. But ChatGPT, for a few of you guys that have not used it, essentially it's a website that you can go in and ask it to do anything, and it's ridiculously powerful. There's ChatGPT 3.5 is like the kind of the original version. Now there's 4, which is the high-powered version, and it's been around for about 3 months now, and I think it costs about $20 a month to be to be a Plus member, and it has some other bells and whistles that you get access to, which we'll talk about in a little bit as well. So with that, so I think of it as like a genie in the bottle next to you. Like if you can, whatever you request it to do, your wish is its command. And so whatever you ask it to do, it's gonna give you an answer back. There are some parameters, like you can't ask it to do something that is against the law or really inappropriate. So it has some guidelines, but the uses are, the only limitation with it is your own imagination, right? And so that is why when I hear someone saying every day, that is good, because you've got to really challenge yourself how you can take advantage of it in a big way. Here's a simple advantage. I was given a presentation on AI back in February on Carlos Alvarez on his cruise. And I said, create a title of a presentation to give to Amazon sellers at an in-person event, teaching them how to leverage AI with not only ChatGPT, but several other AI tools as well, right? Pretty simple. And it gave me like endless ones. You keep refreshing, right? So if I want to create an email, any kind of copy, any of that stuff is super easy. That's kind of the basics. In terms of this topic, AI, this is truly a topic that I call is a last to first and a first to last topic and initiative this year, is because it's truly something, if you are, newer to selling and, or whether you're selling or really any aspect of your business, that you have an opportunity to leapfrog a lot of people if you can harness and leverage the power of AI. You plug into this. And this is truly one where if you're crushing it, you're a leader, and you ignore this, that you have the opportunity to fall quickly, because a lot of people can pass you quickly. So there's always new initiatives, there's always new technology, but there's never been the kind of leverage that these tools have, and the game changers. And again, we're already experiencing it and seeing it, and I'm going to share some of those things with you. So it is, the other analogy I'd say is the last couple of years, there's always like shiny objects in the industry that can distract you, potentially help you, but more often than not, as entrepreneurs, we can get distracted by them. The example I would give the last couple of years has been kind of the crypto world, or more specifically like NFTs. And I'm not saying, I don't have any opinion on long term in terms of like NFTs, things that typically there's usually a small percentage that do work out and the technology develops. But there was a huge rush to NFTs. And even as I was at Amazon events presenting, there was people presenting on how to use NFTs for Amazon. Like, they were really stretching to find a connection to connect it to Amazon, because they want to connect this shiny object to it. And that, to me, I had no interest in it, and I didn't pay attention to it, and we just stayed on our fundamentals. This is different. All right. So, and this came out, the reason why is because there are numerous ways, really endless ways, but certainly numerous ways already that we're implementing this into building our own business, and that you can do too. So before I jump into any tools, I just want to, again, feel free to put any questions in the chat as we go through, or comments, or your own thoughts. But Avishai, just any thoughts, just as I tee this up before I jump into some tools here?
Yeah, so I just wanted to add that with all the kind of tools that are kind of showing up, if you're on TikTok, on Reels, or YouTube, and we're kind of seeing these AI tools come up, a lot of them are still in alpha and beta stages, and can really be always in this kind of FOMO mode, and like you want to use every tool. I think the last to first and first to last, I think one of the things that brings up to me, just kind of, looking at the space for the last 3 years, is find something that you know for 100% is a current use case that is simple, and don't kind of feel too much FOMO, because there's a lot of people teasing out videos of AI capabilities which are not proven yet at scale. So actually look at the more older AI tools, look at the ones that are already out of beta, the ones that already have some paying clients. Those are usually the tools that you can bank on to bring you value as a e-commerce seller, especially as an Amazon seller. So that's just like my 2 cents before going into, kind of the depth of the deck.
Love it. Yeah. Great point. Yeah. So it kind of fits in that theme of, don't get caught up in the hype, but just understand. I mean, everyone's different too, in terms of how you process stuff, how much bandwidth and time you have is, but again, I definitely recommend trying to challenge yourselves, and not just with your Amazon business, but try to, like, every area that you're thinking of something or you have an issue with, try to see what it can do for you. So, like, I'm going to give you an example before I even start going into some of the tools with Amazon here. But for example, I had like a legal contract sent to me, a proposal. Someone wanted to make an investment, and I immediately put it in ChatGPT and say, hey, what are the pros and cons of this proposed contract, right? And so goes through and starts giving you all the pros and cons, or a specific area that I'm not quite sure because it has like some legalese to it. I'm like, hey, explain this further to me, right? So that's just one example. I mean, literally anything you do, your kids' homework, as I have 3 boys, they've been using it before I was using it. I think they were using it the first week. So, you also want to make sure people understand, how to use it, and make sure you use it kind of the right way. But the possibilities are truly, truly endless. So let's go through some Amazon cases. So basically what we want to do today, again, we're not going very super long today. We've got a good group of you guys on here. Like you said, feel free to put any thoughts or questions in the chat, or maybe other things that you guys have as we get further into it. We'll have a couple of things at the end to share with you guys. I think you guys will find pretty cool. But some ways. So we're going to show you some ways. I'm just going to give you guys some tools that we're using right now that you can use as well too. And I think Abhishek made a great point that there is so much hype in things that are not 100% proven out. And so everything, and I certainly do this, you want to make them your own. And the good thing is most of these things are pretty practical, that you can try them out and see if it does work for you, right? So you don't have to like, and there's like very little cost in most cases. Some of the products, you know, they may cost $20 a month or this, that, and the other, but for the most part, you can really implement these things and see. ChatGPT, like I said, the 4.0 is $20 a month for Plus, but you can use the 3.5 for free as well too. So, all right, so here are a few things that you can do right away. So, product optimization, advertising, customer engagement, niche identification, data analysis. So, what I would say around Amazon, having been working on this for several months now, is AI is not the end all be all that's going to replace necessarily any of the existing tools. For the most part, there's certain functionalities that replace, at least certainly not yet. The reason is, you know, ChatGPT is based off of a kind of a somewhat of a fixed database of 2021 and before, at least conceptually. And so most of the stuff, it's going back to this from 2020, the end of December 2021 and back. And of course, there's a lot of the world has existed since then, and it can get you this great perspective. It's not necessarily, hasn't been geared to pull stuff that happened yesterday, and it hasn't been designed. It doesn't have access to like the API to Amazon, for example. So software tools, that the leading tools out there that have access to customer data and keyword research, right? It doesn't have that yet. Now we'll talk a little bit later about things, how they're evolving quickly. So it's closing that gap quickly and tapping into some real-time data sources. But keep that in mind when you think about this. But what it can do is it can accelerate your productivity in a lot of these areas incredibly well, and also can help you go a lot deeper in terms of your understanding of markets, customer segments, and really anything you're looking at. And it can also be a great starter to help you get started with your own thinking, right? Because you start putting in something, it starts writing something, and you go, wow, okay, now your brain starts going, instead of a blank sheet of paper, any area of your business, it will start getting the kind of the juices flowing. So product optimization, and I'll go through these, like I said, we're not going to go super in depth in these because I want to show you some of the other tools. But so product optimization, think about your listing is you have this ability to improve your listing. And what's cool about ChatGPT, there's a couple things you want to do. Here's a couple tips you want to do. It's always about the prompting. It's about what you're asking ChatGPT to do is the key, because everyone has access to ChatGPT, right? So what's the differentiator is about how well you prompt it, how well you ask it, and how differentiated that is versus how other people ask it, right? So, and then how much you implement and execute with the information. So one thing you always want to do is you always want to tell it that it's an expert at whatever you're about to ask it to do, right? So when I'm working on our Amazon business, I will tell it, I'll say, you are an Amazon selling expert, right? I'll tell that this has been proven statistically that when you tell it it's an expert, you put it in the mindset beforehand that it then produces better information, better responses to you. So that's the first thing. And then you can challenge it too. So don't be afraid to be kind of playful and aggressive with it at times too. So I think of it, with our own team, we have over 200 team members on our e-com business. There's a certain way I would never talk to our team members, right? You're going to be very respectful. With ChatGPT, you can be you can push the limit a little bit. And I've learned this from some other people. Like you can tell it like, hey, make this listing 3 times better, rewrite this listing, but make it 3 times better. And you can and it can give you an answer. You can tell it, hey, this is not good enough. Make this better. Some people say things like, you get 5 more chances and you have 10 tokens. Every time you respond with, you don't get it right, you lose 2 tokens. And when you get to 0, you die, right? So there's kind of interesting ways people really challenge ChatGPT to perform at its best. So anyways, that being said, always tell it's an expert. And you don't want to, the more you can drill down into things, the better. You don't want to give it like tons and tons to do at one time, but instead, work on kind of a task at a time and go there. So again, product optimization is easy. Let's say your bullets. You grab your bullets, grab your competitor's bullets, and say rewrite these bullets in a way that are 5 times better, that will make a customer want to add this product to their cart. Another little tip is it's been proven that whenever you're writing, whether it's your listing or email, is the optimal grade level in terms of readability is been proven to be a 5th grade reading level, believe it or not. So sometimes we'll say, hey, and write this at a 5th grade reading level. So I'm guilty of this. Sometimes our own vocabulary, just because what we're used to, can kind of get in the way. So you want to keep things kind of clean and straightforward. So again, so product optimization is one. Advertising is kind of, we're not going to go super deep into this today, but this is a whole nother category, because AI, has certainly been touted in this area for like the last probably 3 years. Like companies like Quartile and other big players in the space have touted that, quote unquote, they've been using AI, so to speak. So there's a lot on the automation side in terms of both within Amazon PPC, but there's even more happening off of Amazon. So things like with Google Ads, Facebook advertising. There's a great, I'll give you guys one of the tools that is really effective to help you basically write the ads for you. Anything customer related is a really good one too. So when people think of AI, you kind of think of maybe kind of some of the sexy areas of your, how to drive more sales, how to get more traffic. Do not overlook the ability to engage with your customers with it. This is probably one of the most powerful ways, in the way that's evolving the most. Anyway, in terms of it helping to respond to customers, if you're dealing with people off of Amazon, let's say Shopify and other things, whether it's email or you have like chat functionality. Again, there's now chat bots, like AI-driven chat bots that can learn your brand and that can engage back and forth with the client and resolve. It's not 100%, maybe it can handle 80% of the heavy lifting as well too. So I'm going to pause right there too, because I'm giving you guys a lot, and then we're going to go through some specific tools. But Avishai, again, want to see if I can pull you in. Just any thoughts around some of the use cases as well.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that is really helpful and useful, right? Like Amazon, you're not selling in a category alone, right? Like, well, very, very, very rarely you'll be in some kind of blue ocean, right? You always have competitors, and you have people that have been there before you on a certain category. And you can really use the AI to do what I would call an unbiased comparison, right? Like when you're comparing between you and a different listing, your listing versus a competitor's listing, there's a lot of biases going through your mind when you're doing that comparison, right? It's very hard to stay unbiased because we're human. When you give ChatGPT the option, and there are options with certain plugins to access basically links online, to start doing the comparison from a very unbiased place, you start really understanding how your competitor landscape looks like, in terms of how is your competitor doing product optimization, how's your competitor doing the advertising. And I think that some plugins also allow today to upload like kind of larger amounts of data, so you can actually later put into different cells different things of your competitors, and just like kind of put them all next to each other, kind of like a multiple comparison. And then you can start seeing if there are things that are repeating themselves with the larger sellers in your category, right? So if you're not the larger seller in your category and you have at least 3 to 5 players that are bigger than you and selling more than you can find things that are overlapping between them, and you can start identifying what is potentially best practices. And obviously you can ask the AI later, hey, my biggest competitors are doing A, D, and F. How can I do something that's actually better? How can I beat them? So you can not just finish the research with AI, you can take that research and then start, like you said, kind of pushing the ChatGPT to its limits. How can I do a better job than my competitors? So that is another way of kind of utilizing this amazing technology.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Awesome. So yeah, so you can go really deep and I don't think I have it up here. And I'll give you an example. I was sharing this with some of our community and our coaching members. And one of my lead coaches, a guy, Matt Atkins. A few of you guys may know Matt. And he sent me a screenshot that night after I was talking about some of the customer ways to do it. And he said, wow, that was the easiest customer support case I ever had with Amazon. So even, hey, reaching out to Amazon seller support, I've got this listing that's been taken down because of an image issue. You just literally ask it, how do, you are an Amazon selling expert, and basically prompted it, said, write this note to Amazon seller support in a way that will get this listing back up, give some detail on it. And sure enough, it wrote like a really smart, effective tool or response to it. And they got the listing back up. He was like, wow, that was super, super easy. Another way is, with all this stuff, when it comes to content, and I'm going to show you a couple things, tools, right? But, when it comes to content, this is where it's kind of the low hanging fruit is, really powerful to create a ton of content. So on same thing within Amazon, one example is Amazon Posts, which are kind of like, it's Amazon's version of Instagram. They also have the Inspire app, if you guys are familiar with that. The Inspire app is like their standalone app. But Amazon Posts, as long as you're in the brand registry, right, you can create images and you create captions for it, right? And so now instead of our virtual assistants creating a few of these like any day, they're cranking out like 30 of these per day, right? So we kind of turned our virtual assistants into super VAs, right? And whether it's a virtual assistant, whether it's yourself or a team member, you have the opportunity to, even if it's not perfect, right? But they have the ability to do so much more. And again, it doesn't have to be 100% of the solution, but it can be just move so much faster. The other one, in terms of analysis, the other one we like to do too is to review, to have it analyze reviews. So we love to take a bunch of reviews from top competitors, put it in ChatGPT, and ask it to analyze it. Say, what are the opportunities? What are the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats of this product, right? And how can we improve it? How can we make it better? Because that's real feedback from customers. And again, we often do it with competitors. You can certainly do it with your own as well too. And that can really help you in terms of product selection. There's literally hundreds of prompts. I'm not going to go through all of these, and I'm going to show you I'm going to show you the best tools to help find some great prompts as well too. But as I said earlier, ChatGPT is all about the prompting, and so are some of the other platforms like Midjourney we'll talk about, but it's about, how creatively you can ask it to do what you want. But, here, again, if you guys take a picture of this, here's 20 things that you can literally do it, plug this in right now or after we're done here, and start getting a level of depth and insight with your business, right? So I'll take some random ones. How can ChatGPT assist me in analyzing my competition on Amazon, right? How can ChatGPT help me improve the accuracy of my Amazon product listings, right? On and on and on. Earlier this year, I was talking to people and sharing this point around, well, the key is all about the prompting, right? It's about knowing what to ask ChatGPT. And my one son is a sophomore. He's a really strong student. And he just said, well, why don't you just ask ChatGPT what you should ask it about how to sell on Amazon or how should it, I'm like, that's a good point. So, whenever you think like, oh, well, I'm not sure how to do this, like you can keep working backwards and ask ChatGPT, what are the type of things I could do to ask you so you could help me. All right. And there's a lot of these crazy examples out there. If you guys follow stuff on social media, like there's people saying, hey, they're basically, launching businesses or saying like, hey, ChatGPT, you are my business partner. I am your human version. We have $1,000 to start a business and I'm your human counterpart. I'm going to implement everything you ask me to do as long as it's not illegal. And we want to build a business to get to, $100,000 per time. Start writing out the plan for it and begin with what we should execute in terms of the business, right? So there's a lot of ways you can do this, and some of these guys are following along with, what it's guiding them to do to build their business. All right. For today's purposes, we want to go through, again, we're not going very long here. We're going to move quick. In probably about 15, 20 minutes, we're going to do some Q&A. And so again, just stay dialed in here in terms of some of the things we're sharing here. How about Midjourney? How about who here has used, if you've used Midjourney, put a 1 in the chat for me. Or if you're familiar with Midjourney, maybe I'll count that as well too. You can put a 1 in. And if you haven't, put a 2. And we'll talk. Kay, yes. Miriam, yes. Awesome. Brad, no. Tiva, no. All right, great. So a mix. So Midjourney is, think of it's like ChatGPT, but for images. All right. And obviously for Amazon, any of your social media content, images are a huge deal. All right? We sell over 2,000 different products on Amazon, and I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. So when we want to get photos, a couple of things. We do a lot of photo shoots, like lifestyle shoots. They're very expensive. We get our own kids to go out there and we do photos. We pay them a little money for that. But the photographers, we spend thousands and thousands, $10,000, $20,000 easily for a given kind of launch and so forth. Now, if you want to, especially when you're in really competitive categories, like we sell primarily in the cell phone accessory space is our number one product. So it can be, you got to really stay ahead of the competition. Good. Now there's been like 3D images, designed images. That's been around for a few years now. But the ability to have artificially created images that are completely unique. The thing about whether it's ChatGPT or Midjourney, the content that's created is, it's not just copying someone else's. It's creating it based on what you prompted to, just like we said before. So Midjourney, here's an example. I said, prompted said, a sad money in a monkey suit. This is before I was getting ready to present on a cruises. So it gives you like 4 ideas, and then you can basically go 1, 2, 3, 4. You can basically improve these, or you can say like, give me a better version, or you can say, give me a variation of these 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it can keep creating new ones. So in this case, I did one of the ones, and it was actually this one in the top, actually the bottom right, and it zoomed in. I have a big image of it. It's great. If you go into Midjourney, you can, it's interesting. It's called a Discord server. You can see actively what everyone's creating, which is kind of wild, like all the crazy ideas and concepts. There's also a way to create your own private. It's like your private server, private room, which is what I do. And then yourself and your team can create images. But the possibilities here are truly limitless. Like the way that you can do it, for example, I've seen, we've been creating basically, I'll show you like this woman, let's say this woman in her late 50s, looks a little rugged, outdoorsy, to represent our gardening brand. And there'll be a whole story written about her. She'll be like our brand leader. And the thing is, she's completely made up, but she, of course, looks 1,000% authentic. So you can essentially create any kind of, not just images for your product, but any kind of character to represent your brand in terms of what it's about. So pretty wild around what you can do with Midjourney. What I also like to do with it is from a product standpoint. And again, we haven't perfected Midjourney by any means. We've got a long ways to go. But it's certainly, if you want to pick one area, like Midjourney is a way you can spend a lot of time or have your team invest time and do some really cool things. Is in this case, massage guns. I talk about massage guns are the leading massage, the one leading massage gun I think does about 30 million a year in sales. And there's literally hundreds of them that do over $1 million a year in sales, several million. So in this case, I just asked Midjourney, I said, design me the world's most luxurious massage gun. And this is what it came back with me, right? So is this an existing massage gun? No, but it's like, that's interesting. It gives me a starting point to go to, if I'm going to go into the space, to go to a manufacturer and figure out, is something like this possible, or at least get a host of ideas to differentiate what existing products out there. Because we talk about selling on Amazon, product selection is always the number one thing. It's been the key to our own success and most people's success on Amazon, which is how to create a great product and how to differentiate it. And Midjourney is a great way to do that. You can also upload existing images. like your competitors' images and have it basically design off of existing images, which is pretty wild. So cool. How about Abhishek? I got a few more tools I'm going to show before we do Q&A, but any other thoughts as I'm going through here?
Yeah, so I just think that like it's worth mentioning that, right, that you can use the image generation to build up towards video generation eventually, right? Because when you think about what is a video, video is basically a lot of image frames connected together. So I think that we are very close to the point where Amazon sellers will be able to create videos, even if they're kind of simplistic with AI generation. I think tools similar to Midjourney, like Stable Diffusion, and more kind of video open source kind of algorithms will be able to help with that. And all that's really left for a seller to do is to sometimes take their product or their competitors' product images that already exist and to see how these video generation platforms might be able to handle them. Usually, if there's a good kind of white box photo, so it's really easy for these video algorithms to kind of take the product and place it. And I think that this will save a lot of money for sellers who are paying for these very expensive video shoots, right? Like sometimes you'd pay a pretty penny just to have someone kind of like demo the product with just even hands in the frame of the video. And soon this will be probably, kind of at the tip of our fingers, just to kind of like upload an image from 3 or 4 angles, and the video will be basically generated from scratch, or it will have a stock kind of video that the product placement will be generated in that video. And I think that it's worth also mentioning that you can also create probably much more elaborate things if you have even a simple green screen, right? And then really the real zero when it comes to video generation.
Yeah, I love it. That's a great point on video. We'll touch upon just briefly a tool or two around video, but yeah, it's moving so great. And so hopefully you guys can see the stuff is, it's very implementable. And then I see, is it Emery? Put a comment there. So I'll take a look at it here in a second too as we go through. But yeah, and again, I would love to we're going to have some open discussion here in a few minutes. So I'd love to get you guys dialogue around some of the stuff, questions. Again, what's been awesome for me is I like leading some of these discussions around it, but it's not that we're any one of us, as I said before, is a true expert at it. It's just that we're putting ourselves in front of information and knowledge, and you're getting around smart people like Abhishek and other people in the industry, and suddenly like, ooh, let me try that, and I have a use case where I can implement it in our own business. So, to this point around Midjourney, what I found with Midjourney is like a lot of these tools when you first go into it, because as Abhishek said at the beginning of the presentation, that a lot of these tools are in the early stages still. So sometimes it can feel a little bit like the early days of the web to me, like the interfaces are they're not super easy always, but a cool tool for you guys is I like PromptHero.com. So PromptHero.com is, you can see by the name, it says best Midjourney prompts. So it basically tries to make it, I don't say idiot proof, but it tries to make it really easy for you to find ways that you can literally copy and paste to put things into Midjourney there. So, because if you first go to Midjourney by yourself, like I created that sad monkey in a sad monkey in a money suit, you'll find that there's just little nuances to it and as you get more complex, like, hey, I need this image to be this size, I need this image with this background, you're probably going to want most people are going to need some help around it. And so this is one tool, PromptHero.com, that is good for it. Another site, and there's definitely several of these sites. This is one I like right here called Future Tools. So Future Tools is essentially an aggregator of all of the sites, or at least a ton of the sites at a given time. I think there's like somewhere in here, like there's 800, there's probably like 5,000 tools in here now. But what I like is these aggregator sites. And again, I think Future Tools is the best one I've seen, is you can click into different categories and it will give you site there, as opposed to trying to follow, as Abishai said, there's so many, influencers, people throwing out tools and saying this is going to change your world, and you're sitting there spending all day watching these videos. This is a good site that you can just reference a little bit and go check out some of the tools. On the point, Abishai queued up the topic of video. Let me give you, this is one, again, I'm using a lot and really enjoying it. And what I found is most of these tools that I've come across, again, there's probably 5 other tools that I know as well that can do this same thing. And so it's a matter of finding which one kind of works the best. Some of them are free, some of them are not. So Opus, this Opus clip is really good. And this is really powerful. This is great for, if you think of your content strategy on Amazon, right? You have within the platform, you can do your listing, your photos, your A+ content at the bottom, the videos. You can do things like Amazon posts, right? Which is a little bit further out there. There's the Inspire app as well too. And then there's everything off of Amazon. The way that things have moved off of Amazon in terms of marketing, digital marketing in the last couple of years, and most of you guys know it, is all about the short form video, right? Certainly, started with TikTok, Instagram Reels. It's that same format. It's like 60 seconds or less. Ideally, right now, I think even like 15 seconds or less are doing well. So you got Instagram Reels, you've got TikTok, you've got YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, like a Facebook page, maybe your personal Facebook page. And so even LinkedIn. So there's these host of platforms that get a lot of attention that you can do that. Opus is great at, you just put in the URL. Let's say it's a product video. Let's say you have a 10-minute product video or a 5-minute product video. It will go through and it will chop it up in that vertical video format, which is what's needed. And it will analyze it and say, hey, this one I give a 98 out of 100. And this is why this clip will be really good. It's got a good hook. And it'll also tell you what the drawbacks are. Like, usually create like 10 to 15 clips out of the content you put up there. If you have like a YouTube video, so in my case, I've been a guest on a lot of podcasts over the years. So like I was on, Jungle Scout podcast years ago. Like you run it through there and it pulls out 15 great clips. All right. Joey, my business partner, Joey, yesterday was on the 8-Fig podcast. When that comes out, we'll run it through it. But anyways, Opus is a really efficient way. It's free right now. I know they're quickly moving to a model, start selling like I think you get so many free and then they're going to start charging you. But super powerful. Again, there's some other apps that do this as well too, but you can create so much content so quickly. And again, we're not going super deep today on the whole content strategy, but I'm going to walk you through and I'll give you the 30-second. What we're doing is essentially there's all these tools now that can get you the transcript of a video. So you basically run through a video through something that get you through the transcripts of one of the videos. For example, let me get my, I'll take 5 seconds to pull one of them up here. Like Otter AI is one that we use. It's pretty common. I should be careful flipping around too much so I don't lose. Oops. 1 second there. Sorry, 1 second there. Just flipping back on there. So Otter is one of the main ones of it there. And again, you can still, Abishai, you can still see my same screen there.
Yep.
Yeah,
We can. I can kind of see it's still the deck.
You can. You said right.
The deck. I'm
Yeah.
still on the Opus clip slide.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry, 1 second there. Let me just reshare back again here. I think. Yep. Cool. Sometime on my little computer here, when I'm usually on my big monitor share, got a little smaller for my share there, but let me see. But Abishai, anything else you just on the video concept there too, just as I pull back up there, that you want to add? And then I know we're going to do Q&A in a
Yeah,
minute here. We just want to,
so
yeah.
so there's this strategy of, right, like, just holding your product, talking about it, and staring at the camera and just creating video content from, like, kind of, demoing how to use your product, right? But there's on the flip side, a lot of people who do not like to show their face on camera. There are people who prefer to do faceless content. AI allows to kind of win both of best worlds. So there are now AI tools that basically help kind of mask your face or turn you into some kind of character, so you can actually showcase your product and you keep the anonymity and being faceless, and in the same time you can have a full body character showcase the product. So I think that's a very cool thing that's coming towards the e-commerce very soon. I think there's going to be a lot of people who are going to really like generate their own character, kind of a mascot for their brand, that's kind of going to be the spokesman or the showcase of the product, and just going to give everybody the chance to kind of create video content without having to force themselves to, like, in something out of their comfort zone, right? There's a lot of people who do not feel comfortable in front of the lens, and AI is pretty much going to solve that for those people who do not feel comfortable going on camera.
Yeah, and that's a great one. That is one I'm not going in deep on that tool. There's several of those tools. One of them is called d-id.com, I believe it is the URL. And it is, I'm just going to even see if I have it right up here with, I keep so many of these, but I know d-id.com is a great tool. I love on the top, it has like the different, has like the 4 functionalities. It has pricing, it has kind of what it's about. And then there's a tab that says ethics. Because these tools are so powerful, and these are some of the ones you've seen with the voiceovers around this stuff, that it just speaks to how powerful these are. But yeah, absolutely, that's a great way to do it. So the last couple ones I'm going to give you guys, we're going to go through this really quick, and then we're going to open up the Q&A here in just about 2 minutes. This is hot off the presses in the last week or two, is ChatGPT, the new plugins, right? So I talked about ChatGPT is incredibly powerful. The one kind of drawback has been that, hey, it's based on a set of data from 2020, December 2021 and before, and with that is kind of a drawback. But within ChatGPT now, basically, and there's a little bit of a race. There's a competition between OpenAI, who ChatGPT is the company behind ChatGPT, so, and Microsoft has a massive investment in it. But between OpenAI, Google, and a few other platforms, there's this race of which platform is going to be the platform where not only is it like the ChatGPT or the equivalent, Bard or whoever, but where's like the App Store going to exist? Where are the add-in plugins? So OpenAI with ChatGPT launched the GPT new plugins, and this allows all of these kind of developers and different tools to plug into and allow you to access this. So again, this is more kind of an FYI to you guys today, because this stuff is so new. But for example, one use case today was playing around with it was you grab a recipe, local recipe, finds a great recipe for a meal you want, and it can connect directly to the grocery store and get and load up in the cart everything you need for that recipe, and have it delivered to you right away. Where you can see already Expedia here, Zapier hooks up a ton of things. So there's kind of endless ways, things that are evolving now. And the cool thing about this is real-time data, right? This isn't the 2021 and before. So I think we'll see. It's a little early here, so don't more keep your ear to it. You're going to see more and more Amazon stuff start coming up here in the few months as that starts developing as well too. But like I said, we're in the early stages in terms of tapping into the Amazon API and the data with Amazon. But lots of cool things. Now to get this, you need to be in. This is my login here, ChatGPT 4, and then you have to come enable the browsing and the plugins to enable it on your account. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm going to chime in here real quick. It looks like some of our audience cannot see your slides anymore.
Okay. Abhishek, can you see my screen?
Nope. It just says it's about to start screen sharing, but it
Oh,
doesn't.
all right. Let me try that again here. Sorry.
Refresh it. Sorry to interrupt, but just want to make sure
No, no,
everyone.
no. That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
There we go. Good to
You
oh
go.
want?
no, sorry guys. All right. Well, I'm not going to go through everything, but the point holds it true, which is, yeah. So the top left part is this is my Chat GPT, so 3.5, and I click over on 4 because I'm a Plus member, and then if you mouse there, you'll see default browsing plugins, and so you have to go in and enable the browsing and the plugins. You go to your settings. It's not hard, but then all of a sudden you'll have access. You see popular, new, all, and you have access to like endless flows of apps. So my apologies that you couldn't see the screen, but that is what I was sharing. So actually, this was the point that Abhishek was talking about. This is that site, that D-ID. You can see products, technology, ethics, and pricing across the top, right? Like super powerful stuff. The reason why it's ethics is because, for example, there's like famous people, movie stars, where people are having videos with their voice, and you're thinking or creating music or doing things when it's not really them, right? It's a fake. They could be representing your brand and everything else. So the discussion is, using it for good, not evil. Unfortunately, there's great use cases and then there's really bad use cases. So from a fraud perspective, what's been happening is there's been cases where people have taken a child's voice, like a son or daughter, and then they try to scam the parents by manipulating that voice as if that kid's been kidnapped or something like that. So there's always like very scary uses. And the mother, because I've seen some of the interviews, has been said like, I knew that was my daughter's voice. Like they weren't imitating it, really was her voice, but they grabbed it off of social media and then manipulated it to a whole nother level of kind of fraud going on there. So again, this stuff can be used for good or for evil. Let's use it for good and to help each other. The last thing before we go to Q&A is, if you guys are not familiar with this is called the AIPRM Chrome extension. All right, so AIPRM Chrome extension is really powerful. And what it essentially is it overlays onto your Chat GPT. So when I pull up Chat GPT in Chrome, this is over here. And it then it kind of like crowdsources all of the best prompts. And it allows you, instead of having to write the prompt, you can just go in here, you can click it. So like I said, write a complete book in one click. And then I can go down here, and then it will ask for some more information, like what topic, the book do you want? And it will add on to everything else with the prompt. The cool thing is within here, you can't see what the details of the prompt, because some of these are developed, they're like almost coded. They're very complex. And to write this amazing prompt, this output, it doesn't show you here, but in ChatGPT, you can actually go in there and there's like a backdoor to click through and see what the actual original prompt was if you want to manipulate it and modify it yourself. But this is really awesome. So you get all of the best prompts. You can go through different tools. Again, there's hundreds of these. You can sort by different topics. And again, it makes your prompting really, really easy. So in this case, I said, using this one right here, write a complete book in one click. I said, how to sell on Amazon. That's all I put in. Did this last night when I landed here in California. It wrote out these 15 chapters for me. It started writing the first chapter, and then it will stop because it will say, hey, I can only write like 1,000 characters at a time. But it will say, hey, go ahead and prompt me for each, basically prompt for each of these chapters and write one chapter at a time. And then you put them all together, you have it right there. Again, my recommendation is, as I said at the beginning, don't use this as a 100% solution. Use this as like a framework, starting point. Go in and make it your own, personalize it. You don't want to produce only AI content because it's going to have holes in it. It doesn't have your personal touch to it, certainly at least at this point. But crazy, right? You can literally write a book on how to sell on Amazon in less than an hour. I could create every one of these chapters out in detail, and then I could probably spend a day, if I really want to go a day, putting my own, touch upon it and have it. All right. So there's a lot. We're going to move to Q&A here in a minute. And just to recap, because I know I've been talking like faster than I usually do, just because there is some really cool things myself and Avishai have been sharing. but ChatGPT is a really powerful tool. Challenge you guys to try to think of the ways that you possibly could have used it today, tomorrow, that you haven't been, not just with Amazon, but every aspect, because you have to build a habit of doing it. And none of us really have that habit because we're not used to having such a powerful tool with us. And so it's easy to take it for granted and miss out. Again, there's a lot of, what I love about it, we both said, is that this isn't like a weird thing like NFTs and trying to reach and figure out how I can possibly piece it together and make some crazy scenario to make it help with my Amazon business. No, this is specific stuff, these tools that you can do to help optimize your listing, to help create content, to help create faceless video, as you talked about. And not only you, but you can create your team, right? To create a super team around you. So whether it's a virtual assistant, whether it's your business partner, a team member, to kind of put your entire team on steroids in terms of what you can get done. And the last thing I would say is, again, no one's the expert. Don't look at it as an end all be all, but understand if you plug into some of these tools and pick a handful of them and leverage them, and your team leverages them, you can move so fast. And that's what we're experiencing right now. I can tell you our content is like, all of our numbers are up insane because, like, whether it's our Instagram, TikTok, all the things, we have these things automated now with good content, with a process. And like I said, we've 10x'd the type of stuff we put out there, which is flowing through our business. And we're seeing a nice uptick in sales. All right. So with that, Abhishek, any final thoughts before we do the Q&A here?
Yeah, just think that it's worth like kind of mentioning that sometimes ChatGPT will be wrong, right? Like we're talking about this tool, and it is a very smart tool, and it knows a lot of information, and sometimes it's going to be wrong. You gave the example of doing the book. You can't really trust it 100%.
Mm.
And my cool way of to kind of make sure how much I can trust it is by actually opening ChatGPT in two tabs. And what I would do is I would do everything you kind of showed in one tab, and then I would like copy the book chapter by chapter to the second tab, like completely fresh. And I would ask ChatGPT to pass on critique on the chapter it would write. So what you're basically having is AI check your AI, and you can tell the second AI who is passing critique to be very harsh with its kind of feedback to the first AI that wrote it. And that way you can kind of ping pong between the two tabs until you get a very refined chapter. And that way you can create very refined chapters throughout the book. So that's a good example of how to kind of make sure that you're really using the AI ability to its best. Never settle for the first answer you get right out of the gate.
That's so true. Great point. And that took a little bit getting used to, because here we talked about, it's like, I'm using the analogy, it's like this magic genie and this incredibly powerful thing, and all that is true. But sometimes, it's like, it's almost like it lies to you, or it just gives the wrong answer, or depending, if you don't give it, like, you're missing a few words in your prompt, it's enough to throw it off that it gives you, like you said, just like a wrong answer at times. So that is something you had to, like myself, I had to get used to, that it's so powerful, but you need to kind of give it the sniff test and run it through your own filters to see it. Again, sometimes it's a small tweak and it will give you a different answer completely. So that is a great point before we do the Q&A. So yeah, happy to do Q&A. We'd love to, even in the chat, if there's other tools you guys are using. Like I said, obviously we could list 300 tools. We don't want to go through 300, but I think we covered a lot between both of us chiming in. I love some of the video points is there. I'll just give you guys another one that we're using. It's not as relevant to the Amazon, but for audio, Joey's got this Fearless Sellers podcast. Actually, she was on the podcast with 8Fig yesterday, but there's another example, like anything audio related. There's amazing tools to produce really like high-end production studio sound quality. So there's a tool with Adobe Podcast has a tool. So we'll run it through there, and it sometimes a guest will have like their microphone won't be good, and we'll run it through there, and the audio sounds amazing. And I'm like blown away by tools like that as well too, what it can do. So just so many cool things. So yeah, someone says it'll be recording. Ron says, yep. And I know we have up here, and again, feel free to share any questions, or happy to answer them. I know we've got both and I'll have, I'm sure Katie and Abhishek have share more on the 8Fig side, both of our contact information there in terms of the QR code and the web address. Just on my side, the AMZ Insiders, myself, my co-founder, fellow partner, Joey Roberts, we do help people on the coaching side. So feel free, as being here, we are offering a free strategy session for you guys. Again, these are one-on-one calls to learn more about you, where you're at. We'll give you some tips, and we'll see if there's a way we can help you out if there's a good fit. If not, we'll have a conversation. But that's the amzinsiders.org/apply, or scan there. You'll see there's only so many spots for the week, but we'd love to have a conversation. We're working with a lot of people on the AI topic, especially we're always working with a lot of newer sellers, but with the AI topic, we have a lot of 7-figure sellers that are working to get to 8 figures that want to make sure they stay ahead, right? They're in first. They want to stay in first. They don't want to go first to last. So definitely encourage you guys to take advantage of that free strategy call. How about you guys on the 8Fig side? You guys share. Obviously, you guys appreciate you guys hosting this event, and this has been I've really enjoyed it here on your guys' end.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you both so much for being here. We really appreciate you having you both on the panel. I think we learned a lot of really great information about AI. I know I personally learned some things I haven't necessarily seen. So hopefully people got, some good learnings from this. If you guys have some time, we're going to answer some questions. Jamie, Avishai, hopefully you guys are still good on time to get some of these questions answered.
Yeah, no problem.
Amazing.
No problem.
Okay. Yeah, we have a couple questions here. There's one that was sent in earlier. So someone was wondering if there's any AI-driven tools that can help with price optimization.
I know the answer is definitely yes. I've got I don't want to misquote. There's one, I'm in all these chats with different top Amazon sellers. And so I know there was one a few weeks back with some of the other kind of big players in the space that were testing one out for reselling. I probably can't quite figure this. I don't have it off the top of my head. So if you guys reach out, I definitely can share one. But I love getting feedback from other people, because you're like, hey, it seems like it's working really well. I don't want to go through 100 chats right here to find that specific tool, but the answer is definitely yes. There's probably several of them, but I know there's at least one that some of the other guys have done it. So I'm happy to. I've got a Facebook group on AI. It's got like 24,000 members in it. I'll find it. I'll definitely post it there, and I'll share it back with 8Fig as well too. I don't know, Avishai, if you've seen anything else on that topic.
Yeah, so at 8Fig, we are developing kind of the AI CFO. And what is neat about having an AI CFO, your CFO will kind of tell you what is the best price, not in terms of how you're just facing in front of competitors, but how you're facing in front of your competitors, and in the same time, what is the best price for your unit economics, right? Like if we were looking at pricing for your products in kind of a vacuum, then you're always going to aim for profitability and to kind of, increase sales. But because you have competitors, then you have to also be mindful of their prices. But you can't also like compare to your competitors and, kind of calculate that in a vacuum. So you have to have both worlds. And a good AI CFO will take your internal metrics and the external metrics of that competition and try to bring you to the best outcome. Sometimes the recommendation won't be around your price as much as it will be around what inputs are going into that listing in terms of your supply chain. And sometimes the best optimization is not on your price point, it's actually on your supply chain and creating the same product for a lower cost, or trying to reach a situation where you are improving your unit economics around maybe it's the packaging, maybe it's your PPC, etc. So I think that the AI tools that are going to be built for e-commerce are going to be more than just pricing, and we are definitely playing in that field, trying to help sellers with pricing in their store and not just pricing, kind of listing versus listing, and that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Looks like we have, oh, sorry, Jamie.
No, you're gonna, I think, queue up the next question. I think that's where I was going.
Oh yeah, I think looks like we have two more questions and then we'll wrap up. I know we're a little bit over time. Someone asked, can you give an example of how to do product research in detail with AI?
Yeah, so great. Yeah, I was covering it earlier in the conversation around this topic. This is where I said what I found with the tool, it's great to partner it with existing tools. So again, there's a lot of good product research tools out there right now, whether it's tools like Helium 10 or Jungle Scout or whatever your preferred tool is. And I'd like to partner with those tools, but with the prompts, what we found is to really go in depth of the market. Like we can do, because again, you think of ChatGPT tools, it's really good at everything that's not specific data, seller data, because in most cases it doesn't have that. Again, I think that's going to change quick with some of these apps, but I love to do like market research on the customer that will buy the product. And so we've got a bunch of prompts around that, which is like, hey, what type of besides a massage gun, or what type of products other than massage gun would someone who wants a massage gun buy? And it gives us a bunch of ideas. And then we plug that in and go back to those Amazon tools to analyze that. You can also get, tell me more about that type of customer, and you can kind of drill down and really profile out the customer, which I would say traditional retail and traditional product development has always been better at that. A lot of times as Amazon sellers, we're so keyword driven that, the product is okay, but we don't really think about the customer in a bigger way. And so that's the biggest thing we're doing, is leveraging it to kind of fill in those gaps beyond kind of the traditional methods we're using in terms of keyword opportunity and looking at the opportunities. And then the other one is with Midjourney, the product idea is you can get really creative with letting it create other versions of the product to help you say, wow, this is is that feasible or not, these crazy ideas for this product. So you could take a product, usually you may have no idea how to differentiate it, and now you can get 10 new ideas to see can a manufacturer actually modify a product to differentiate. So those are a couple things on my end there. Avishai, anything else on that one?
No, I think that I touched on it before, like just in terms of that kind of world, there's a lot of data inputs that you can put in and kind of compare on a like kind of more looking at things horizontally and not vertically by just, plugging in every of the best sellers in your category and just trying to figure out what is the overlap and what are they doing really great and what you can do better in that kind of room that they're doing great.
Cool. All right, guys, it looks like we have one more question. I feel like this is kind of a good one that maybe both of you can answer as we kind of wrap up here. You guys have both shared great information on, the future of AI and how that looks for sellers. It looks like someone's curious how that might look for buyers, and just kind of how do you see AI shaping the Amazon landscape moving forward?
Yeah, sure. I'll kick off a couple of thoughts, which is along the lines of what we've been sharing already, which is both for buyers and sellers, it's just accelerating the pace of change, right? So we're not new to change, and as Amazon sellers, our key is that we've always been reinventing ourselves every year. There's some core fundamentals with business that won't change, but in terms of understanding, staying up the times, I think it's interesting. Yeah, I flew out to California last night. I was watching, I think there were some quotes from Bill Gates, and again, I don't know if he's taking shots at Amazon again, which is like, hey, if AI develops the way we think it's gonna make Amazon obsolete. It was like a crazy statement, which I don't believe or agree with, but obviously the shopping experience and the way people do things are gonna change quickly. It's one of the reasons why I think Amazon is becoming more and more seller friendly, because they know in order to compete, they need to enable sellers they need to help sellers more. And they also need to stay up with, platforms like TikTok. Like TikTok made me buy it, right? As TikTok adds more e-commerce within those platforms, right? These other platforms all become kind of competitive threats as well too. But so, I think I don't know exactly how it's going to evolve, but I know in the short term, I know there's, a lot of low hanging fruit for us to implement and to stay up with. And I want to be plugged in and just be around other people that can have these discussions, because like even this conversation today, Avishai is sharing things that I'm like, ooh, I didn't know that, right? So just get around people and collectively learn so you can stay kind of on the forefront is my perspective.
Great. Avishai, any additions to that?
No, I think that was an answer that I can really resonate with. I think that what you said about Amazon is very correct, right? I think that the more we have this kind of democratization of technology and abilities in the overall kind of, world we operate, the more Amazon will open up and understand that it has to at least expand the goldfish bowl, if not to completely kind of create some kind of tube that leads that goldfish bowl to the ocean.
Awesome. Cool. Well, we're a little bit over time here, so we'll get things kind of wrapped up. Jamie and Avishai, again, thank you so much for being on the webinar today. Again, got really great, valuable information about AI and how we can support Amazon sellers. Like Jamie said, if you scan this QR code here, what are you giving away, a free coaching session?
Yep. Yeah. It's a free strategy session. Just learn more about you, and we'll share more how we work with sellers getting to 6 figures, or those working to get to multiple 7 figures. So yeah, we're happy to jump on a call with that.
Cool. Thanks for doing that. And then as far as 8Fig, if you scan that QR code there, you can learn about funding with 8Fig and how we can kind of support you in your selling journey. Again, thanks for being here, guys, and we hope to do this again soon.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank you.
everyone.
All right.
Have a good one. Bye.